What is going on, guys? Tyler Toad here coming at you today. Thankful for you tuning in. Today, I'm going to share with you what I believe is the most important video we've ever put out on this channel. And we've had 75 awesome guests come on our podcast. We put out 50 pieces of content around marriage, faith, fatherhood, fitness, all these things. And what I'm going to do today is make a video that ties all of these things together that can really change your life if you watch and apply this. I've seen it work for myself. I've seen it work for hundreds of clients that I've used. And the best news is, guys, it cost you under $1 today. You know, I used to go into ruts. I used to be really fired up for a few weeks back at the gym. Maybe that was with fitness, with faith. I'd even be fired up in my marriage. I'm gonna be a great husband for a while. And then I'd start to get in ruts. Sometimes I get too focused on what I'm doing to think about other people around. Sometimes I get too focused on grinding and making money, and I'd let my health go awry. What I'm gonna teach you today is an awesome framework that I've been using now for 4.5 years that anybody can use that costs less than $1. And I'm gonna walk you through it step by step and show you how to apply it today too. So what this is today, guys, is a monthly audit of your life. The framework behind this, how I've used this to change my life. And guys, you know, I said it's only under $1. All you need to do this today is a 99-cent notebook you can go get at any department store. So I'm gonna walk you through my exact framework, talk to you about how you can create your own, really craft that clear vision for your life, and audit it every single month and make sure that you're always going in the direction you wanna go. You know, every successful business does this. Every successful entrepreneur does this. And so, you know, and I look at it and I say, well, we're the CEO of our life. Why would we not also do this? Take some time every single month to reflect on what's truly important, to make sure we're going full speed ahead at the things that are the most important to us, and to create that life that we want together. The first phase of this is you have to decide exactly what is the most important to you in life. Now for me, I broke it down into 5 categories. And I essentially said, I don't care if I lose at other categories in my life, I am going to certainly win at these categories every single month, get better and improve at these. So what this looks like for me is number 1, faith. That's the pillar of my life. It's the foundation of which everything else is set. And so if I'm not locked in and walking in faith and have a mission bigger than myself, none of the other stuff that I'll do will matter. The second thing for me is fitness. And I actually put this ahead of family. And fitness to me is holistic. It's a sound body, a sound mind, and a sound spirit. So how do I go about that every month, making all those things better? The third aspect I put is family. And I put that below fitness because look, if I'm not my best self and filling my own cup, I feel like my family suffers. I've done this before where I try to be a martyr. See a lot of parents do this. Well, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to read or do the things that I want to do because it's all about the kids. I'm giving. What happens is then we just have a completely empty bucket. We have nothing to continue to give from. And ultimately the people around us suffer the most. So family is third. The fourth one for me is finances. Now, I consider this pretty holistic for me. This is my business, streams of income to make sure our family is taken care of, make sure I'm doing the things I need to do to be a good steward with the money we're given, where we're donating, things like this. And the fifth one comes friendships and relationships. So for me, it's 5 F's. I used to have the last one just relationships. Started driving me nuts as I had 4 F's. Needed a 5th, so I put it in friendships and relationships. And that bottom piece to me is how I'm going to cultivate relationships, grow deeper in the ones I have, maybe seek out new mentors or current mentors and things like that. I'm gonna walk you through this process of how I came to those, why they're so important to me, how you can use this framework to decide exactly what's important for you, and go through those categories every month. This should take 30 to 40 minutes a month. So we're talking about a minute and a half a day is what you're gonna average on this. And it will rocket ship your life, guys. You will have a laser focus of where you're gonna go. So before we hop in, I'm gonna say, you know, your categories might look a little bit different. They might be a little bit out of order from mine. That's okay. I think the main thing is you take 5 or 10 minutes and you actually say to yourself, what's important to me? A good framework for this is to think of yourself in the future, maybe 30, 40, 50 years ahead of time, and you are on your deathbed. What are you looking back and saying is the most important things to you? What do you wanna be remembered for? Start asking yourself these questions. When I started asking myself these questions, I really decided these are the 5 areas that matter to me. Nothing else matters. It's what led me to give up TV 41 months ago. I haven't watched a show in over 40 months. It's what led me to give up news and politics and all this crap around me that just doesn't matter and focus on what does. I think often when we think of habits and these great habits that we do, we think of adding things, a gratitude journal, lifting weights, walking. And while these are all awesome and great things, I think it's equally or more important to remove the things in our life. And so this exercise, what it did for me more than anything, is help me see what is not important, what I didn't need to focus on, what I could leave behind so that I could keep growing. So that's step one. Figure out your categories. What is the most important to you? Get those on paper, and we'll go from there. So once you have the categories picked, what this looks like for me and what this looks like for a lot of my clients is I'll start at the top and I'll say, okay, faith. Here's the kind of faith I want to have. At my highest of highs, here's what it looks like. So here's what I want to create. What steps do I need to take to ensure I get that? For me, it looks like a little bit like this. I need to read my Bible every single day. So what do? When I do a monthly audit, I ensure my Bible is on my pillow every night so that when I lay down, it's a reminder, just read one chapter a night. That's always my goal. One chapter a night doesn't sound like a lot. It takes me 2 to 3 minutes usually. But what that does is ensure I'm getting 365 chapters of the Bible every year at least. And there's many nights where I continue to go beyond that. So this monthly audit helped me realize that and helped me set that non-negotiable goal. Another thing I wanted was to pray over my kids. You know, we've adopted 2 boys last year and they came with some medical troubles, and this is when this started. And I really took a look and said, well, what's the best way I can change it? Is it worrying about their future, or is it getting intentional and praying over them as they sleep and giving this over to God? So, you know, when I go through this monthly audit, what I'll start to do is say, you know, this month maybe I wasn't as spiritual as I thought. Maybe I did the minimum on the Bible, and maybe I'm reaping the rewards of that. Maybe I don't feel as locked in when I'm at church and singing the songs. So what I'll do is I'll start to say, okay, for my next month, what goals do I add? Just a quick example, last month what I did is said, you know what, I'm going to add a 3rd sermon every single week. So it's pretty common, my wife and I go to church every single Saturday with our family. Every Monday I listen to a 2nd sermon. Shout out to Eddie Lowen at Westside Christian Church, my former home church. Eddie's a guy that changed my life. Talk about him on the channel. But you know, I decided, you know what, I'm getting church on Saturday, I'm getting church on Monday. I always feel real fired up at the beginning of the week. Sometimes midweek I can start to have that lull and I can start to have Tyler's thoughts come in instead of godly thoughts. So I added another sermon on Thursday nights. Take a walk, listen to another sermon. It's usually Craig Gershell. I got a lot of preachers. If you want some, let me know. But so just adding that in for this last week made a big difference. I move down the list and I say, okay, fitness, where am I at? Now this looks different than some people would think. This isn't just me saying every month, I want to go as hard as I possibly can and crush and beat 5% body fat and this and that. What this does is take an aerial view and say, okay, you know what, for this month, looking ahead, I actually just kind of want to relax a little bit more this month. I want to hit the gym 4 or 5 days a week, maintain some of my good healthy habits that I have that are non-negotiable, but I'm not really trying to kill it this month. And this is where I was at last month. I knew coming up, my goal is to be in the best shape of my life at 40, which I have about 6 months to accomplish. And so I knew I was really going to dial in here this next month. So when I was making my audit for the last month, I basically said, don't worry about what you eat for dinner. If you want to have pizza, you want to have ice cream, you want to do these things, that's okay. We're going to go ahead and continue to do that this month because I always eat a perfect breakfast, always eat a perfect lunch. Those are built-in systems that are non-negotiable. But as long as I'm eating healthy 75, 80% of the time during last month, that's okay. Now, when this month started a day ago, it's time to lock in a little bit. It's time to dial in that diet. It's time to add wind sprints into our weekly routine. It's time to change a few things. And again, take that overview of, okay, if here's where I want to get, here's what I need to create. So it's really helpful to look back and sort of have a plan going forward. A massive cheat code for this, guys, and one that I give to all my clients and myself is once I've completed this monthly audit, it has my categories, I've set my goals for the next month, what I do is keep it right by my bedside table. And every Sunday I take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, and I plan out my week. And so what I'll start to do then is move things and goals that I set for my monthly audit into my weekly goals and actually plug them into my calendar as to-dos for the week. So for instance, when I went back and set that goal to pray over my kids, yeah, just writing down pray over your kids, that's a good goal, but it doesn't really mean anything unless it's plugged into your calendar. Well, I want to pray over my kids. And I made this mistake one month on my monthly audit where I said, yeah, I want to pray over my kids. I looked back a month later, I had prayed over my kids exactly 1 time. So then when I do the monthly audit, what it does is gets me out of that rut, catches me and says, okay, Ty, we set this goal to pray over our kids. We did it 1 time in 30 days. If I wasn't mindful and didn't come back to that and say, okay, let's set a plan, Every Sunday and every Wednesday, we will go and pray over our kids. We will put it in our calendar so we make sure we hit it. If I don't do that, I can really find myself going on these stretches for months and months where I'm just busy. I don't think about this stuff. Yeah, I'd like the idea of praying over my kids, but I don't really do it because I don't sit down intentionally and take the time to think about how important that is, to get it on paper, to get it in my planner. And so what this does is really capture where your intention's going, where your focus is going. And look, you can't lie to yourself. There's times where if I'm really honest, I look at my monthly audit from the last time and say, man, I dropped the ball on that. I have sucked the last 3 weeks at this area I wanted to get better at. All right, what this does is give me a chance to recalibrate, reset some goals, line up how I'm gonna do it, and sort of work backwards again and say, this is exactly how I'm gonna do it. Look, guys, I'll be honest, it's not an accident that some people are super successful and some people are always daydreaming about success. If I'm real honest with you, for 34 years, I daydreamed about success. I blamed it on I don't have the right genes, I don't have the right bank account, I don't have enough time, I don't have this or that. The truth of the matter is I wasn't intentional, I wasn't focused, I didn't have systems like the one I just shared with you to keep myself always moving forward. I would languish for months and months and even years at a time. I'd get fired up to go to the gym and then, the motivation wears off and I just didn't think about it. And well, next New Year's came around and I thought about it. Why is New Year's so powerful? Why do you see the gyms packed for 2 or 3 weeks? Because people generally sit down around New Year's and make a plan. I want this year to look better. Studies show motivation lasts about 3 weeks. So once that wears off, you need a system just like this, a monthly audit, to go back to and say, this is where I want to keep looking. I'm going to do 12 of these every year. So I go back and look at those goals I set. Make sure I have systems in place. Make sure the things are on my calendar to keep winning. Shout out to the OG Dwight Eisenhower's. I'm going to put up a quote from him here. He said, plans are nothing, but planning is everything. And I really love that. And I think that hits home so much around what I'm trying to say. And I hope you can feel the passion coming out of me when I say this. To plan and to have a plan and to think like, yeah, I want to be this person. I want to have this in my bank. I want this kind of body. I want this kind of relationship. I want this kind of faith. It's so easy to say and just throw out there. This is what I did for years. It wasn't until I actually got my plans down on paper in a notebook, did this monthly audit that kept myself on track, that my life started leveling up and going to new places that I never thought I could get to. So I'd urge you guys today, again, I believe this is the most important video I've ever put out. If you will do this one habit, take 30 minutes a month, 40 minutes a month tops, get your categories out. Decide what you need to give up, what you're going to win at. Go back and look every month. Constantly iterate, pivot. Put the things in your life and in your mind that you want to win and get you to where you want to go. Have a clear vision. You can change your life. You can be anywhere you want to be in a couple years. I promise you that. So what are you waiting for, guys? Get out your notebook, get out your pen, shut off the video, go have the greatest day of your life, get intentional, get fired up, and let's go create the best future for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys.